what's the business that you're in now, and how did that translate from what your dad has taught you?
Interesting you say that. So I think one of the reasons why I'm going to back this up for a second. I think one of the reasons why my dad didn't leave me anything when he died is because he knew I could handle it.
Mm,
He knew that I would be just fine. I would find my way and make my way. And he left everything to my stepmom and my half brother because he knew they needed more help than I did.
interesting.
My dad gave me a lot of skills when it came to business. And one of the biggest skills that he gave me is being resourceful and resilient.
Mm,
He taught me how to find answers. I recently took this personality test that's like it's not one of these like online like gimmicky things. It's like a
right,
real deal,
right.
like you pay for it and it's done by a university and stuff. And the number one trait that they found in me was researcher
Mm,
because I find answers. I find solutions to problems. And that's just part of who I am. But it's part of who I am because he instilled that within me.
he was definitely that guy.
Yeah.
He was definitely the researcher. He
Yeah.
definitely wanted to know everything that he could know.
Yeah. Right. Sometimes to a fault. And I'm the same way. Like I'm in the weeds so deep, I can't see, the top of the lake. I'm just down at the bottom, scratching through the weeds, unfortunately. But
Mm,
it's also a superpower. Right. So as far as where I've gone and what I've done and where I'm at with business, I've had a lot of different businesses. I've tried a lot of different things. Where we currently are in business is a handful of different things, real estate being one of them, but just on the investment side, on the passive investment side. So, my dad and I were in the mortgage business for a number of years. I started with him in 2004, 2005, and we did commercial loans, right? Just like what you guys did at the bank. We did commercial stuff. We also did residential stuff, a lot of refis for people. And we also did some regular real estate transactions like residential purchases and things like that. So he taught me the entire business. And then up until about 2010, everything was going really well, right? 2009, everything started falling apart. We didn't reinvent ourselves. 2010, we basically shut the doors of our company. And from that point, I had to go figure out what I was going to go do. I went to work for another mortgage company at the time that had inbound leads, and I was literally on the phone just like all day long trying to close people with refining their house. Got burnt out on that, and I ended up I took a month off and I went to Europe. I went backpacking around Europe, and I quote unquote found myself. It was a great time, man. It was a lot of fun. When I came back though, I realized I didn't have shit to show for it, and I didn't have any money. And so at the time, I was living in a condo complex. My friend also lived next door to me, and he owned a construction company. So I was like, "Hey, I need a job." He's like, "Cool, show up Monday, 7 a.m." So I literally went from this high of being in the mortgage business, making really good money, doing real estate and all that stuff. I mean, I don't know if you knew about this or not, but my dad and I and one other partner were going to break ground on a 100-unit apartment complex. Did he ever
mm,
tell you about that?
mm-mm.
We had a 100-unit apartment complex in Merced, just outside of Fresno.
Right.
We owned the land, the plans were approved, the permits were pulled, and we couldn't get construction financing to save our asses.
Huh.
The lending guidelines changed with every bank during that
Right.
time,
Right.
and we had to bring a lot more cash to the table in order for us to get approved for a construction loan. And we didn't have the cash. Our mortgage business was failing. So we had to let that property go back to the bank.
Mm,
It was literally ready to go. It was like we even had the contractor lined up. I bought a house next door to the property and I moved all of my stuff. I was living in Camarillo at the time, loaded up a big moving van, moved all of my stuff to Merced, and I was going to live there to
to oversee
manage,
it. Yeah.
yeah, to manage the construction process. I wasn't going to manage like the construction. I was
Yeah,
going
you
to
just wanted
manage
to
the
make sure
contractor.
everything's going the way it's supposed to be going.
I literally moved there and I
Mm.
lost that house too. So I was a signer on that loan. I was upside down 200,000 on that house. And then we had to let the other property go back to the bank. I mean, dude, 100-unit apartment complex when we were 2 miles away from the brand new University of California Merced.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
part of
that
it was going to be student housing
that apartment complex would have pretty much taken care of you guys.
for a very, very long time.
Yeah.